Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to take a look at a Marvo BigBang keyboard from Marvo. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we're taking a look at Marvo's latest mechanical gaming keyboard with a ton of RGB and some multimedia functions thrown into boot. This is the KG965G. It's actually also known as a few other models on the internet, on our website, etc. I'll put some links in the video description for you so you can check it out for yourselves. This has actually been sent to us free of charge for review purposes from Marvo themselves for us to check out. They haven't asked us to say anything in particular and just unbox it, see what you think. So that is exactly what we're going to do today. They have also sent as well their honeycomb mouse, which we'll be doing in a follow-up video. So if you want to see how that goes, don't forget to click on the subscribe button and the chime icon and you'll be notified of future video releases. So starting off, let's take a look at the packaging quickly. So as you can see, this is the Marvo branded packaging. Also it's got mechanical RGB KG965G gaming keyboard. It comes with blue switches, so this is Outemu BLUEs, which are nice and clicky and very tactile. So if you're liking a very clicky and tactile switch, then this is going to be right up your street. As it stands at the moment, it appears that this is the only version of switch this keyboard comes with. Obviously, that may change in the future. Again, links in the video description. A nice feature of this, even though it is actually a relatively budget keyboard, it also has driver control, so you can download the software from Marvo's website and you can take control of pretty much everything on here, which actually is going to be a godsend because there are a lot of buttons on this thing. Talking of the buttons, obviously it does make mention there of the multimedia functions. So this has got a full complement of multimedia buttons in various places. You've got some dedicated buttons along the top edge, so you've got a stop, play, pause, etc. You've also got something which I really love, and that is a very nice knurled wheel volume control. Absolutely fantastic, especially at this sort of price. We haven't touched on the price at all yet actually, which I should mention. This retails in the UK somewhere in the region between £40 and £50, which for an Outemu full-size keyboard like this with programmable RGB and all that kind of good stuff, I think it's actually a pretty decent price, but let us know what you think in the comments. On the back of the box, pretty much more of the same, so it talks about the mechanical switches, also seamless gaming. This does have N-key rollover and anti-ghosting, all those kinds of features that you'd expect to see from a kind of mid-range keyboard. Also as well, you've got individually backlit RGB keys and all that kind of good illumination stuff. So I think that's enough about the actual packaging. Let's take a look and see what we got inside. So the packaging, actually, I'm very impressed. It does look very nice. So we've got this outer sleeve which we can remove, and this reveals the inner box. So we've got Pro Gaming logo on there, and if we flip the box open, inside we are greeted with this logo, so Born for Gaming. This is actually something which is repeated across pretty much most of their branding, is one of their slogans. So yeah, you probably will see a little bit more of this as time goes on. So that is the first thing. Then we've got a little bit of foam to protect the bits and pieces inside. Taking a deeper look inside, so first of all we have got a wrist rest which is protected in a foam bag as well, which is very nice to see. Now this, I have actually looked at this already and it's actually quite an interesting design. So we've got a traditional kind of palm rest, very nice textured surface on there, not padded but just plastic. It was absolutely fine. You do have a little bit of indent there and it says Born for Gaming. Again, we're seeing more of that as time goes through. An interesting feature of this, which I've not seen on any other keyboards of this price or actually even more expensive, is the fact that this is actually adjustable. So not only have you got the 4 rubber pads in the 4 corners there, or I guess it is an oblong shape, so yeah, technically there are corners, but we've also got this section, so these are actually adjustable. So these sections here clip into the keyboard itself, and then you can actually adjust the slider. So if you want your palm rest to be slightly further back from the keyboard, you can loosen those off and adjust them as you see fit. Or if you want this to be really snug up against the keyboard, then you can slide it in, adjust it, tighten it up, and you're good to go. The default setting, from what I can tell with this, is there is actually a very small gap between the keyboard itself and the wrist rest of about 3 or 4 millimeters, which isn't a great deal. Could be a little bit of a crumb trap, but still, you can adjust it should you wish to. Next up, we've got a Marvo sticker, which you can, well, stick to things. And also we get the Marvo Pro KG965G mechanical gaming keyboard instruction leaflet or pamphlet. Nice to see this is done pretty easily, and yeah, it tells you about all the software, gives you links, etc., specifications, all that kind of good stuff, what the compatibility is, the operating force, which I should tell you now, the operating force of the keyboard, the actual switch themselves, is about 60 grams, give or take. Backlight's RGB, USB 2 interface, cable length is 1.6 meters, operating support for Windows 7 or newer, and the type switch is mechanical blue, as we said, and the switch rating is for 50 million presses, which clearly we won't be testing in this review. Looking further in, so we get a keycap puller, which is pretty much standard thing we expect to see these days. And last of all, we get the keyboard itself. So let's take this out, get rid of some of this packaging on the desk and take a closer look. Okay, so we've got the keyboard out, and as you can see, very nice looking keyboard. It's all finished in a kind of satin matte black finish, and everything actually feels to be pretty decent. We have got a metal top plate to the keyboard, although saying that, there is still a little bit of flex. The rest of it is all plastic, so there is a little bit of flex in it. Not a great deal, but it's really nice to see a metal deck again, especially in a keyboard of this sort of price point. As you can see, we've got the USB cable here coming out the back, which is all nicely fully braided, 1.6 meters, and terminates into a USB 2.0 cable. Now, you're wondering probably why I'm making a big deal about it being USB 2.0. And the reason behind that is because on the back, there's actually two pass-through ports there. So on the back, you've got two USB 2.0 ports. So this is going to be useful. Say, for instance, you buy a USB mouse, a wireless USB mouse. You can plug the dongle in there, and then you've got your mouse on the desktop, so it's really nice and nearby. Also, you can plug in other things like flash drives. Obviously, because it is USB 2.0, you're not going to get those fast transfer speeds, but yeah, it is going to be usable, and certainly is going to be quite convenient rather than reaching around to the back of your PC, or maybe trying to find the ports on the top of your PC if it's close to hand. I think that's actually a really good addition. Always nice to see little things like that, just to make things a little bit different. On the back of the keyboard, so we've got some rubber pads at the front section here. Strangely, I'm not sure why, but they've chosen not to put any rubber pads in this top section. You do have feet on there, which adjust the angle of the rake of the keyboard, so you can have it over in the flat design, which you're probably seeing from some B-roll now, or you can raise the feet up. There are some kind of slightly textured sections there, no rubber as such, but yeah, it doesn't seem to want to slide around the desk too much. The front pads actually do a particularly good job. Also, obviously the sticker there telling you more details about the keyboard itself, and also you've got access to the screw holes, so should you wish to take it apart for any reason, maybe desoldering a switch, etc., then you certainly can do. The switches are soldered, so they're not hot swappable, so you are pretty much stuck with them unless you're feeling a little bit creative and are handy with a soldering iron, in which case you can desolder the switches and replace them with ones that you actually prefer. So let's have a slightly deeper dive now into the keyboard itself and the buttons and the layout, etc. So we'll start over on this left side. So you've got the G1 to G6 buttons. So these are designed for programming macros. So you can go in there, go into the software, program a macro. You can, if you want to, program macros actually from the keyboard itself. So you don't need to install the software if you don't really want to. But I think for most people, actually, when it comes to programming macros, it's probably going to be simpler to do it from the software. Also on the top, you've got these M keys. So these are actually predefined in the software. You can change them if you want to. And these will highlight certain keys for gaming purposes. So for first-person shooters or particular games, you can go through the different options there and choose a profile, so only those keys will be illuminated. So if you're playing your games in the dark, then those keys will be highlighted so you don't accidentally press the wrong key. Personally, for me, I would probably never use that in a million years, but for some of you, you may appreciate that. Looking at the keys themselves, you can see the font on them, or the typeface, actually really nice. I quite like that. It looks really good. You've also got obviously the extra function keys. So on the top there, you've got the rec button. So if you're using the function button, you can press that escape key and that becomes record. So you can record your macros. So it's pretty straightforward. You've got your My Computer, Internet Explorer, your email app, calculator on F4. Then from F5 to F8, you've got your multimedia games. So stop, rewind, play, pause, and fast forward, which are also duplicated on the top row there. Then you've got things like your volume up and down, and also a key to control the RGB, of which the RGB is a little bit of a weird one. You can control two sections of RGB. So this one here on F9, you press the function key F9, and that will cycle through the various lighting styles for the actual keyboard deck itself. But there is actually a top strip along the top of the keyboard as well, which actually you can control independently. So in order to do that, you press the function key and the insert key, or insert, and then you can cycle through various things on there also. So very good. Again, all of that you can control in the software if you want to make life a little bit easier. Moving further along the top here, so we've got other things for controlling RGB functions, brightness, speed, etc, etc. Also you've got function lock button, all that kind of stuff, brightness up and down. Top section here, we've got these metal buttons, which are actually designed for your media purposes specifically. So again, replicated, so you've got stop, play, pause, fast forward, rewind, etc. And on the end, you've got that really nice knurled wheel, which is for controlling the volume. I actually really like that. On my Corsair K70, I use that an awful lot, especially if I may be watching a video and I'm being interrupted. I'll quickly just flip that down, put it down to 0, carry on conversation, etc. It's very handy. And also when editing, trying to get levels right, I can just adjust it on a sort of very granular basis just to get the volume exactly how I want it to. So yeah, very good, like it a lot. So the keycaps can be removed quite easily, and again, you can replace those with put-in ones should you wish to. Optional. You do see then the blue switches in there, which is the Outemu BLUEs, as we said, so about 60 grams of actuation force, and they are exceptionally clicky. So yeah, if you don't like clicky keyboards, look away. I'll give you a quick example of what it sounds like to type on. Listen to this. Actually pretty uniform, and all the keys actually seem really well stabilized. They are, it's going to sound odd, but they do wobble, but they feel stable. I'm not sure if that makes any sense at all, but they are very well stable. The spacebar, it's got stabilizers both ends, and you press it and it just feels very reliable. The spacebar is the only one which I've noticed has actually got somewhat of a rebound sound to it, so I'll give you another example of that. So there's definitely a little bit of rebound through the chassis on that one, but the normal keys, there's a very, very slight ring resonance. This could be down to the table I'm using it on, and because of the position of the legs, we put it down flat. Yeah, there still is a little bit there. If you have this on a gaming pad, then it's going to be absolutely fine. You'll never notice that at all. That will dampen it completely. So I think that's pretty much it for the keyboard layout and the buttons, etc. Actually, it does feel quite nice. The keys have got slightly an angular shape to them. Again, you've probably seen some close-ups of them. They do feel really nice. Very, very minimal wobble. And the actuation force, again, throughout is, it seems very, very kind of similar. There's no kind of obvious keys where you think, wow, that one's a little bit more hard to press, or this one's very soft. They all feel, even the function keys, enter key, etc., shift, yeah, they all feel pretty much the same. So let's plug it in and we'll take a look at the RGB. So there we go, keyboard's turned on, and it goes through its kind of booting cycle, so you can see the colours there quite nicely. And also a cat hair, I do apologise for that. So yeah, it looks very nice. The keyboard itself, it's not overly glaring, it's not kind of blasting my eyeballs out. This is under studio lighting conditions, so it will look a little bit different anyway. But yeah, the per key lighting works very well, looks very nice. You will notice as well that because Marvo, their thing is kind of black and red, that is their company colours. So some keys on this cannot be changed, they are static at red. So as you'll probably see, the G1 to G6 buttons for your macro keys, they are permanently always lit as red, as are the M1 to M5 buttons on the top for your different keyboard styles or for gaming, and also the media control buttons, and also your scroll lock, caps lock, number lock, and also a Marvel logo on the end. If I go through M1, so you can see there, so that is turned off essentially all of it apart from these ones here. M2, so it gives you certain gaming type layouts. Again, you can change all this in the software should you wish to, and you can go through and change them. So they only do kind of one thing each, so yeah, pre-programmable. As you can see, the RGB light on the top is still cycling through, but these have actually changed to basically whatever game they're set up to be. So if you want to change it, all you need to do, press the function key, and you can press the insert key. As you can see, that top section now is changing, going through various cycles, static illuminations, etc., etc. So you can change all that. If you want to change the entire deck, press the function key and F9, and then you can cycle through the various options. So you've got the usual kind of things, so various RGB features there and functions. You've got the kind of rain effect, then you've got a static, a snake effect, which for those of you that have used Nokia phones will know what that is. Then you've got through your usual kind of color cycle. You can probably still see that the top bar is doing its own thing, so we can change that, and eventually you can get it to match, or you can turn it off again. It is very configurable, I do like that. Personally, I would have liked to have seen the other keys change as well, but yeah, I guess it's down to a design thing for them personally. But overall, yeah, I think it's a really nice keyboard. It works very well, it's very nice to type on, feels really good, and the price, I think, for me personally, is pretty much where it should be. You can get slightly cheaper versions of this, which are the smaller versions, so you can check those out on the site again. And there are other keyboards on the market which do offer mechanical switches, a similar kind of specification to this, but they don't have things like the software control, the macro ability, the media keys, etc. and quite often they tend to be the kind of the smaller 10 keyless versions, which obviously there is an inherent saving in those anyway. So for a full-size keyboard with multimedia buttons, RGB lighting, perky lighting, programmable, all that kind of good stuff, I think Marvo have done really well here. So yeah, to me, it certainly is marvelous. We like it a lot. So let me know what you think about this one in the comment section below. Is this something that you would use on your desktop? Is this your daily driver? Let me know what your experience has been like. I'm really interested to hear what they are. So that's going to wrap this up. This has been the Marvo KG965G. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.